What's up, y'all? So it's been a minute. Your girl has been kicking over some new stones and some new places. So, what I want to tell you today is anyone who's thinking about maybe relocating to another state and remaining in the same industry, and we're going to talk about sales, specifically healthcare, whether that's skilled nursing, hospice, home health. I just want to give you some tips because, I myself relocated from Texas into Florida not too long ago. So, with that being said, I left a massive book of business back in Texas, and coming into Florida, it was challenging trying to get a company that was willing to give me a shot. Based on my track record, I finally was fortunate enough to collide with a company who had a sales officer who's actually from Texas, and so that spoke volumes. If you are venturing into whether it be hospice, home health, skilled nursing, and you're relocating, first and foremost, check into your vendor systems. And I mean things like Simpler or IntelliCentrics, Secure. There's a few different ones. And basically, we're talking about hospitals. And so hospitals use these vendor credentialing systems, which can be pretty tough to get everything uploaded and figure out what they want. Check into those because, like in Texas, they were important, but they weren't, if that makes sense. Like, they wanted you to have them. You needed to check in and you needed to get a badge to say basically that you had permission to be on the floor. That you had a patient and, what have you. That was pretty much the extent of it. Here in Florida, and I can't speak on other states, but here in Florida, they use primarily Simpler. Now there is another vendor system, but we're going to talk about Simpler because a lot of your hospitals here want you to have that credentialing system because that is where you will make all of your appointments. You will request appointments. It doesn't mean you will get them. It means you will have the ability to directly request them as a vendor, which can make life a little bit easier. Now, I probably wouldn't have thought so much into it, except, I went to one place and they brought it up, and then lo and behold, the next place was like, oh, if you have Simpler, just go into the app and request the appointment. And I was like, okay, so I really need to get this done. Immunizations. And when you put the app on your phone, you're going to see a list. And it's going to tell you everything that you need. Now, some of it you cannot upload. Let me retract that statement. You cannot document. So things like your immunizations, which will pop up as to what you need, you can upload those. And then they'll review them and they'll approve them if everything meets their criteria. Sometimes you're going to need a drug test. If your employer does a drug test, you can get a copy of that. You can upload it. If not, you're going to have to go to an external location and you're going to have to actually pay for that. Not a big deal. But once you put the app on your phone, you'll be able to see exactly what they're requesting. Some of those are going to be like letters from your company with their letterhead, and you can't do those. Your company has to do those. So check into the vendor systems if you are relocating into another state and find out exactly which credentialing systems they use, because more than likely you're going to need to be a part of those. For me and every other company I've worked for, I was able to get that reimbursed. So yes, I had to pay for it up front. Put it on my credit card, took my little receipt, uploaded it into my expense system, and then the company reimburses me. Those also have to be paid for annually. So every year you're going to have to pay for them in order to continue to be a part of them. And so once you can get through that part, then I will tell you, start making friends. Coming from someone who spent 20 years in one centralized location, I had lots of friends, lots of business associates. So coming into a brand new market, I didn't have any of that. I've never been a big fan of doing a lot of networking as far as my peers or competitors. Not because I didn't want to get to know them, but because I have a firm belief in acquiring relationships that directly impact my book of business. For me, that's always been case managers, social workers, doctors, executive directors, directors of nursing. You kind of get the point here. So while I had several of my friends who were representatives for other companies in various realms of the industry, I didn't necessarily network with them all of the time because it wasn't a necessity for me. I had a handful that I knew if I needed a partner or if I couldn't take a patient, I could hand them off. When you start all over in another state, it is imperative that you find out what those networking meetings are and you attend them. I'm going to just give you a heads up. It can be a little awkward. Even though as salespeople, we're naturally extroverted. Me, I'm ambivert, so I'm an introverted extrovert, which can be a little awkward, which means I can work a room when I'm thrown into it and do it well, but when I'm done, I'm exhausted. I'm kind of like, all right, I'm done with that now. But with that being said, you're going to need to network, folks. You're going to, everyone is not going to be your friend, and some people are not going to be very welcoming. But I can guarantee you, based on what I've been able to experience here in a very short amount of time, there have been one or two people who have welcomed me with open arms. And what that does is that makes me feel like I'm part of the industry here, even though I'm just beginning. So vendor credentialing systems, number one. Networking with your peers and competitors, number two. Number three, in the coming days, I'll be giving you some more tips because this woman that you're looking at has been in this brand new market since September 11th, and that means my training started September 11th with my company. I've been on my own as of today. Today is the 15th of October for 2 weeks. And your girl here, brand new territory, no book of business. Based on the tips I'm going to be providing you, already has had 4 patient referrals on the board. 4. These were not established accounts for the company. So stay tuned. There's more to come. But I did want to start you all with this. So let's follow the journey. Y'all have a great day.